Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the meeting of the Golf Committee of the Town of Barnstable for Tuesday, July 8th, 2025. In accordance with Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 30, Section 20, I need to inquire if anyone is taping the meeting. Seeing none, this meeting will be replayed via Xfinity Channel 8 or High Definition Channel 1072. May be accessed via the Government Access Channel of the Town of Barnstable, of the Town of Barnstable's website. Okay, the roll call. Jeff Converse, absent. John Cookson,
Present.
Keith Hochstein, present. Suzanne Connolly.
Here.
Mark Bushway,
Present.
Bill Silva,
Present.
Jason Orby, absent. Any public comment, Jesse?
Negative.
Okay. We want to act on the minutes of the June 10th, 2025 meeting. Does anyone feel it's necessary to have any additions or deletions?
No.
Seeing none, do we have a motion to accept the minutes?
So move,
And seconded?
John.
All in favor with a show of hands, please? Everyone approves the minutes. Okay, the Director of Golf Maintenance report. We have the honor of having,
We'll see. We'll see.
why does that bring laughter?
Oh, because I got a bone to pick with the golf committee, so we'll see how you guys do.
Oh, gosh, no.
Of course I don't.
Oh, good. You scare me.
I don't have bones to pick.
I was just gonna say, bring back James Bentley. James is not here tonight, so in his place, long time member of the golf program, Chris White.
Yes.
Chris, the Director of Golf Maintenance report, please.
It is my honor to be here. James is going to spend a couple days with his family and well-earned time off, so I asked him if I could fill in, and he jumped on it. So the season's here, and kids got out of school, so I'm glad he's going to enjoy it a little bit. I just hope I don't kill the golf course by the time he comes back. We'll see what I can do. I'm going to go through a couple things. James didn't even give me anything. I read the minutes, but it seems like he touched on things I'm not sure I'm going to even touch on, but it doesn't matter. If you know my personality, it sounds like I'm complaining. I'm not a complainer. I'm a very optimistic person, but it's the way I am. When I see things I don't like, I just like to bring them to your attention. So this is a complaint, this reality. Start off, most full-timers are working 7 days a week. It's time to earn our paychecks for the higher-ups here. And I'm not complaining, we work 7 days a week, we gotta be here. It's that time of the year where it seems like we're never gonna get any rain. I guess the lightning detection went off here today, but that was for Sandy Neck, I guess. I don't know why it went off here. But we come in real early, long days. It's just the way it is this time of year. It's getting tougher every year, seems, with the droughts we've been having and the heat. Things have definitely changed over the years since, I don't know, close to 35 years or something like that. So the weather's definitely changed, and this drought thing is really a pain in the butt. DEP is meeting again tomorrow, Mass DEP. So we're in a significant drought. I pray we don't go to a critical drought, because then I don't even know what the water plants are. We've never, that I remember, been in a critical drought before. And right now, Cape Cod is the only one in a significant drought. So you're going to see some brown areas out there. We're restricted on water usage, and that's just the way it is. I guess the ball rolls further. You played in the club championship, your ball go a little bit further?
Up at high, no, my ball went much further today than it did in the championship.
Okay, very good.
I was playing at Old Barney today.
Okay. Yeah, we're supposed to get rain. We pulled something off today that we would never do, but the fertilizer we put out just didn't seem to do much this year. We put that out in mid-May. We were waiting and waiting, and we got a little kick in, but it wasn't wonderful. So we went out today with organic fertilizer on the fairways.
We could tell.
Wasn't real bad,
It wasn't too bad,
no.
but we could tell.
I know you could tell. And when I came up to tell Mary we're putting down fertilizer on Ladies' Day, she looked at me and I said, I know, but we're supposed to get rain, so.
Oh.
But we pulled it off without getting any of the ladies wet, so we were very happy, and it went very smooth because I can turn on the water anyway behind a tree and you guys can't find me, so. But no, we did very well, so. That was a great thing. We did tees and fairways at Hyannis with this organic fertilizer and just fairways here. Tomorrow we're going out to do the tees here because it's a maintenance day, so they don't tee off the late, so we'll have all the time in the world. So it's a very good thing. We've had good success with this type of organic fertilizer, so hopefully Mother Nature helps us out. This could be a game changer for the summer. The guy's doing a lot of hand watering. You're going to see dry spots. We had a main line break, so we couldn't water one night, and our greens in a lot of areas got hot. Just one night of not watering.
What course was that?
Here,
Here?
Yeah.
You got a mainline break here?
yeah,
On 9.
yeah.
Wow.
And of course, it's not like a little 3-inch where you can put it together in moments.
Right.
It was a big 6-inch pipe, and need the backhoe to dig a massive hole, and the parts cost so much money. They're, just the compressor repair couplings are $350 a piece. It was about $1,000 fix, But we got up going just one night of watering. That's why we have to keep our eye on it. But James was here the weekend, so we did a lot of hand watering. I was at Hyannis all weekend, so I didn't get to see the damage, but I've seen it now. So a lot of hand watering going on. Bunker work, I don't know if you guys have seen any of it. It's a slow process. Our average age of seasonal employees is still about 55. So we move a little bit slower than younger kids,
Wish I was.
when we're shoveling, so yeah.
We should put Ryan on.
55 years old, imagine that. At Hyannis, we did the 7th green. We did a bunker there. We did the 8th green at Hyannis, the left-hand side. And they did 2 bunkers on the 9th green at Hyannis. So it's a slow process, but part of the slow process is just all the golfers.
Yeah.
We try not to bother them too much, yeah. If we didn't have any golfers here, we'd do things a lot quicker.
Yeah, that would be ideal, right?
I don't know how much money we'd make. OBF, it's a little more involved. The 5th hole, we had to put this stuff Luan, some wood around it, because we're gonna buy sod. We're not gonna try to seed it, because this time of year it won't happen, so we're gonna buy some sod. So we did the right-hand bunker on 5 green, the front bunker on 6 green, and we did the left rear on 7 green. 7 green, as you know, probably has a puddle in it every time it rains out, so one of our guys dug down with a backhoe and put a 6-inch pipe in there for drainage, so we're hoping we never have water in that bunker again, so. It's taken a little bit longer to do some of the stuff at Albany just because it's more involved, but we're getting there.
Chris.
Yep.
The bunker, on number 6 here,
Yep.
there's a big slope behind it. Are we gonna brace that down at all?
Saw that?
So we're sodding that. So the design behind, unfortunately, if we had more time,
Yeah.
that is like one of the worst places to work anyway, 6th green, because that's right in front. If we had more time, I would have taken the backhoe and gotten rid of that whole mound,
Yeah,
but that's a whole process that would have to be done in the fall or winter or something.
yeah.
So we put that Luan, that wood up, and then we're just gonna put sod down, so hopefully it hits that mound, it just rolls into the bunker for you, not onto the green, back into the bunker, so.
Sweet.
Yeah. We don't wanna make it too easy.
Of course, 3 of us ended up in that bunker on 6 today.
Did you? Okay.
It's like, oh, God.
That bunker, wow, it gets a lot of use.
It really does.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, you go for the green there.
And everyone has their bunker that they hate, and I get it, and we're gonna try to get there. We're gonna be working on green side more than anything, but we wanna work on the 8 green side, the front bunker there. It's just another nightmare place to work
Oh my
with
God,
golfers.
that bunker on 8 here?
What
Everybody's
about the
talking about
bunker
that too.
on 6 in front or to the right of the one that you're repairing? That's gonna be eliminated, right?
We're gonna fill that in, yes.
When would that happen, Chris?
So that's probably, it's, believe it or not, that's tougher to do than to edge a bunker and put sand in it and sod. We have to get material to get out there. We have to fill it in. Then we need to loam it, and then we need to buy sod. So it's a process to,
Okay, I just-
because we don't want to, I don't think Jesse does, you know, we did some grass bunkers at Hyannis on 2, because we kind of liked that look on the
Right,
second hole, we
right,
liked the
right.
grass bunker look. I'm guessing, because Jesse's kind of the one that's telling us to fill this stuff in, I'm guessing he's going to want to look natural. You know,
Yeah.
the one on 4, we tried to make it look natural. Remember the one we filled in? We didn't want that to be a grass bunker. I don't know if you remember that one.
On 4?
See, that's wonderful. They
Oh,
couldn't even
yes.
tell there
No,
was
no,
a bunker
no.
there.
Like
I know
40
where
yards
it
short.
is.
Yeah.
It was like
Oh,
30
yeah,
yards
yeah.
short
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
green.
Yeah.
It was almost a fairway bunker, yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
not quite sure why they put that there in the
Right.
There was
place.
no reason for that to exist. The ones on 2, I liked leaving that shape
Oh,
because
that's
they'll
right.
accept the
Yeah.
ball rather than repel it into the woods.
Right,
That's why
Correct.
on 2 I didn't mind them not being filled to the brim, so to speak.
right.
Yeah.
Number 8 at Hyannis was another massive one. You guys probably forget it was
Oh,
even
no,
there.
that was right in the middle of the fairway.
Yeah.
Like that
That
hole's
made
not
that
hard
hole-
enough.
Yeah, 200
That
yards.
made
Why did
that hole the hardest par 3 on Cape Cod.
Yeah.
There was no reason for that.
Yeah.
So we filled that in, and we got a lot of thank yous for that. So,
Right.
and we made it so that if you hit it, we hope that you'll bounce onto the green. We didn't make it a grass bunker, so we tried to. We're going to do the same thing on 6. That hopefully you hit that area and you'll go into one of the other bunkers.
All right, so that's in the plans, but it's gonna take a
It's
while
a given.
to fill that one in. And the one on 13, where we are back to back on the right side of the green,
I think Jesse wants that one gone too.
that's gonna get filled in.
Jesse doesn't like the idea of hitting out of a bunker
Into
over a
another
bunker.
Yeah.
I don't
to
either.
go
One,
onto the
6,
green.
and
I don't
13.
either.
There's
Yeah.
3 spots on this
Yeah.
golf course.
Yeah.
I think it's,
Yeah,
none of us
all
are
right,
good enough for
so
that.
those are in the planning stage.
They are in the planning stage right now. I'd rather you hit out of that junk bunker on 6 right now while we fix up some of the other bunkers. You know, so we can put some sand in them. You know, so that's why we want to work on 8. 3's another tough one. So.
Chris, it was, I happened to be in a bunker today, on number 17.
Yep,
I think it was the second one. It was muddy,
muddy.
and I'm wondering, I mean, can you comment on that? Why?
Yeah, so that's funny that you say that. Like I said, I've been here a long time. I swear there's a spring under that green
Okay.
that feeds that bunker. Since I've been here, water's gone into that bunker, and I don't get why. It's not the sprinkler system. The sprinkler system's in between.
Yeah.
The sprinkler head is in between 2 of the bunkers. I don't know why that's always wet there. It's
And
never
it
made.
stands there.
So
It
I should
does.
have got
Yeah.
a free lift? Is that-
Yeah, make sure those feet, you know, you see water come up around those feet. And like I said, we can talk about so many bunkers. It's just, like I said, it takes time, and the price of things now is just insane. Bunker sand,
The ones you've worked on, they look fantastic.
they're gonna be good. Once we put sod there and the sod takes, we'll move the wood out of the way, and it should look a lot better, you know.
I saw Sean today after he edged the one on 9, just dripping
Oh.
wet.
Yeah,
Oh.
I know.
Just,
And like I said, our average age is 55, so I try not to hurt
here's a shovel.
the
Good
people
luck.
too
Yeah.
much, you know.
So all that wood in the bunker at 6, that will stay there until the sod takes?
Yeah, the sod won't take long. It's
Okay.
just,
But all the wood has to stay?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, because I'm putting sod around most of it.
Oh,
6.
okay.
Even the backside is gonna probably stay.
Oh, yeah, because there's that kind of brown.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay,
yeah,
all right,
Yeah, so it's gonna stay there for a little bit.
all right.
And Mary asked me about that. She says the ground under repair, and I told her no. That's not my call. That's up to her,
The pro,
Jesse,
yeah.
and Tom to decide what's ground under repair.
She
But
decided it's not.
I told her I wasn't doing ground under repair, if you guys hit up against a man-made object, correct me if I'm wrong, rules official here, you get a free drop. So if it's fence,
Stance and swing unless it's a boundary marker.
correct.
Yeah.
So if you're in the bunker and it's going to hurt your
Not
swing,
line of play, but stance and swing. You
yes.
can't say it's in my line. But
No.
you can say it's impacting my stance or swing.
Right. So that's why we didn't do ground under repair. I want you guys to
No,
use your own rules and
no,
we'll take a drop out, whatever you guys want to do.
Hey,
You know,
she
the
didn't
only,
wanna take a stroke, so she called the pro
the only thing about
And then
the
club.
here today.
advisability of having that as ground under repair is people could hit into the turf that you're putting in there, and that's not really solid yet. And
Yeah,
that
so you're
there's
right.
some damage that could be done to something that you've just sodded.
So we haven't done the sod yet, so once we have the sod, then I might make the determination, now it's ground under repair.
That should be.
Yes, yeah, because we're not gonna want you guys on it, because a lot of it's gonna be slopes, and we have to stake the sod, so it stays there till it roots.
Well, on the fifth, I mean, that's a
It's gonna be
significant
tough,
angle.
yeah.
If you hit your ball there, it would be tough not to destroy some of that sod.
Absolutely, yeah. So
Did you
once,
rope it?
what's that?
Did you rope it?
I hate
I
rope.
know you do. That's why I
Just
asked.
stand
I know.
When we first bought Hyannis, I think there was 3 miles of rope around
And when
Hyannis.
somebody kept cutting them?
Well, I got rid of all the rope first, and then we finally put rope up again, then people started cutting it.
So you'll just, spray around.
Yeah,
and-
I'll just
and
put
people will-
white paint around it, yeah, ground under repair.
That's a good point.
Yeah, but then it's gonna be
Yeah.
too easy. You guys
Well,
gotta
we're-
pay the
we're
price on
happy.
5, you gotta pay the price on
The
5.
more bunkers taken out under repair, the better we like it.
But anyway, we're gonna make slow progress.
Are we gonna have James Bentley back for the next meeting?
You're mean.
might
You
make
most
both
certainly
come.
will. No way. No, once a year. Uh,
Oh, good.
we feel the courses are okay.
Mm-hmm.
I won't ever say they're wonderful. That's our job. No one buys a business and finally says, oh, we're perfect, let's not try to improve. So we're always looking to improve. So right now, for the conditions that have been handed us in weather and all that other stuff, we feel the courses are okay. I had a buddy from Tampa, and he hears me complain all the time, I guess. And he went out and played. He goes, I was expecting things to be like, I won't say a golf course, but certain golf courses around here. He goes, it was beautiful.
It's beautiful.
I
I've
know.
said that before,
I
yeah.
know, but
We're
you
very
want us to
lucky.
stay on our toes.
Yeah.
You do want to stay on our toes, not say, hey, everything's good, just let it be. So
Did you happen to watch the John Deere Classic?
I did. I made
Wow.
James watch it.
Did you see the greens?
Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
that dollar
Yeah.
spot?
They were horrible.
No, that's dryness.
That's just.
Just dryness?
They wanted those greens hard and fast, so they basically turned off the water.
My
And so
goodness.
when we came in, James came in and saw these greens after we turned the water off for one day. We had spots like that. The whole greens were like that. The superintendent, because the PGA probably takes over USGA,
They bring in the USGA with the agronomists and all kinds.
and so,
What
but
if
they don't
this-
care about the superintendent. So the superintendent has been crying,
Right.
crying, just like, how am I going to bring these back? I don't even know if you can bring
Because
them
then
back.
that circus leaves town to the next city, and you're left with.
So
Yeah.
the PGA did that.
USGA, he thinks.
Yeah, they take over.
Not the PGA, the USGA. I always
Yeah.
mess those
They
two up.
take over.
They take over the course.
Well, I'm sure the PGA
Yeah.
employs their own.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're the boss.
USGA does that to a course. That's kind of sad.
It is. It's not, anyway.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
No, it's not fair to the super.
That's kind of all I have, other than I want to thank all the staff members at Barnstable Golf, operations, admin, and maintenance. We seem to be pulling things together, and things seem to be going very well, which Jesse will talk about. Some big numbers that are impressive.
Yep.
So,
Chris, I've noticed more sand mix being put out even in the fairways to fill the divots. Is that a conscious effort that people going out there doing that?
yeah. So we have a couple that do the divots on all the tees, and they do some fairways, but we send more people out to do that. This fertilizer didn't kick in because normally we don't have this problem. It will grow in, and it just didn't grow in. This fert we put out, I don't know, it just didn't work. So normally that'll fill in quicker, so we went out there with grass seed and some sand to try to get some things filling in. So it's still sitting there on like the third hole, but I'm guess with this fertilizer, we're hoping it's
It's
just
like every
things
month
gonna
we
fill
hear,
in.
this fertilizer didn't work, but we're hoping this next stuff we try is
It's
gonna
a
work.
battle. It's a battle. This fertilizer we put out in May, we used last season, and it just took off. We're like, yes, this is the way to go. And everyone, the salesperson, kept saying, "Oh, soil time, soil time, soil times," and it seems pretty warm out to me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know what we're waiting on. We found this with this organic fertilizer. Some have worked one year, not the next year, and that I've talked about it with a lot of people. It doesn't make sense to us.
Yeah.
But a lot of things don't make sense to us, so this one has been proven, so hopefully this one kicks in. I'm hoping to see a great response here. This should be good.
How long does it take? How long before you see
Now
the
with these
result?
temperatures, I'm hoping like 5 days we start to see something. Organic fertilizer loves this humidity, loves the heat. It just kicks in, melts it right down. And they're not big particles. We used mini grade particles, so it's really in there quick and should break down quick. So we're hoping to really. We need to see rain.
Yeah.
Rain and fertilizer are just magical. And so we really pushed today to get it done because we thought the next 3 days might get rain, but I don't know if we are now.
Chris,
All right, question?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, John.
what's the
please.
difference in cost between the divot mix that you see at other courses and the sand that we use here?
The green stuff that they use, is that what you're talking about, the divot mix there?
Yeah, it's kind of brown stuff, yeah.
Yeah, so we use some of the brown stuff at Hyannis. It's I'll give you an example. So a 10-wheeler load of the brown stuff was about $1,800. We can get an 18-wheeler of the divot mix that we use for about $1,400. So to us, it makes more sense to get as much product as we can because we go through so much divot mix. But James bought this divot mix that was in bags and it worked great at Hyannis, so he was waiting for July to possibly buy more. And it's expensive, but we really like it. So you're gonna see this stuff, it's already pre-mixed in the bag and they just take the bag and fill divots with it. But we went through a whole pallet, I think, in one day on the par threes at Hyannis, so that's how many divots there were. But
And it just keep coming.
they just keep coming. That's a good, yeah, I guess that's a good thing.
Any other questions for our special guest?
That will never be invited back, yes. I was positive.
It's so
Excellent
great to see you.
Excellent report. Director of Golf report.
All right. Real quick, 2 of our 5 club championships are in the books. Congrats to Bobby Harrington, who won the Old Barnstable Men's Championship. Over at Hyannis, Pat Grimo and Lori Bowen won the gross and net, respectively. And the men's club championship at Hyannis starts this weekend. Clubhouse update at Hyannis. Some good news to report, and that the latest schedule shows completion date being moved up like 6 weeks.
Ooh.
They're now showing September 19th as a completion date, as opposed to October 29th, I think was last month. And I talked to the general contractor Super about this, and he thinks it's very realistic. They'll be out of there by the start of October.
Could you repeat that?
The Super says it is realistic that they will be out of there by October, in early October. Now, I should note, it's not like we're going to be moving in immediately after the crews are gone. There's a substantial number of things that we want to address that aren't necessarily part of the project, and we need to wait till they're gone to tackle them. I'm talking things like painting the exterior, power washing the decking and stairs, replacing urinals on the main level, replacing the ADA ramp at the front entrance, and a few other things. We're also at the mercy of when we can get IT staff over there to get us set up with all the computers, printers, credit card readers, phones, all that stuff that we do, and we can't install on our own. They just stink. My hope is that we can use the 2 days in October. The course is closed for aeration to get the new pro shop installed, so to speak. But I'm not sure 2 days is enough. But we'll definitely be using those 2 days to do a lot. Otherwise, we need to do this stuff literally overnight if we're not going to close the golf course.
When do you think relief area stations can be replaced down on the lower level? Because this is the 100% most common
Mhm.
complaint I'm hearing when people come up to me, would you find this out? And I explain to them, because the contractor doesn't want trucks
Yes.
down there.
Yes.
And, but wait, if you're a walker, you've gotta go all the way up, so ask the guy that's hanging around for a ride.
Once they're gone?
As soon as they're gone?
Yes. As soon as yes.
And it has to be all the way till October? I'll tell people that.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
fine,
We can't have that truck going down there.
exactly. No,
We just
I say that
Yeah.
to so many people.
It's a logistical issue. It's
I say, well, take a cart, or when you get off of 9, ask the guy who's right there, give you a ride up top.
Sure.
I'm sure he would,
course.
he's really nice, so,
Yeah, I don't have a great answer for that, but it would be, once they're gone.
yeah, okay.
Or I can at least ask the question, are you done with this area?
Okay.
I don't think I think it's kind of an all together. You know what I mean? I don't think they're just gonna say, oh, sure, take free reign of the bottom floor in that whole area. But I will ask.
Yeah, that would be great, because I'm sick of answering the question,
Sure.
but I take a cart, so it's no
You just
problem
buzz
for
up
me,
top.
yeah, so,
Um,
thanks.
The financial component of this project has become a little clearer. I don't have firm numbers yet, but it's looking like we're gonna be on the hook somewhere in the neighborhood of 1.2, 1.3. I saw an email exchange between Chris Canella and Finance Director Mark Milne, in which Mr. Milne noted, basically what he said was if we took a 20-year note on that 1.3, it would be about $96,000 a year. Again, those numbers aren't set yet, but it's something we need to account for moving forward, is a 6-figure payment for the next 20 years.
Oh, God.
Right. Now, the good news, FY25 is in the books. It was a pretty successful year. You have in front of you, I just typed it up real quick, it's fairly crude, but the final rounds report. One very notable thing, Mary would be very upset with me if I did not highlight this, and that for the first time ever, Old Barnstable took in over $1 million in greens fees. That's $2,800 a day for the entire year. That's pretty crazy. You'll see we had over 76,000 rounds as a whole, with member play accounting for 59% of them. Interestingly, that 59% number was the exact same at both courses.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Right. I looked. I ran it twice just to make sure, but it was
Yeah.
59%, pretty much on the dot at both courses. The breakdown.
What's your
Granted,
ideal ratio? I thought you had said something about 50-40.
50-50 is how the sheets are set up.
Yeah.
But obviously, the members end up grabbing the times that aren't sold to the public. So
Right.
if it were more like 50-50,
Yeah, you'd be in,
revenue would be
yeah,
yeah.
through the roof.
right.
Right.
In terms of overall revenue, we beat forecast by a little over 370,000.
Nice.
This is that kind of strange time of year where I got like 5 or 6 days at the end of June enjoying being in the black, and then July 1 hits and we're 4 million in the red. You know what I mean? It's just
It doesn't last, Jesse.
right.
Jesse, what is that over last year, you know?
Last year, what did we beat? Oh, you know what? Do I have the 2025? No, I have next year's.
Looking,
On the stuff that we got, Bill, it was,
Is that in her
seven,
report?
which is a little less than the number that, of the total, it's 7.4%.
Yeah, less than the total. What do you mean?
7.4% increase.
Gotcha.
yeah,
Gotcha. In total revenue.
Oh, no, total rounds
what about revenue here?
last year to this year.
Oh,
Revenue.
Trying to find the
Yeah.
revenue figure.
Total revenue,
Actual fiscal year 24.
revenue was 6.5% increase.
Yeah,
Okay.
granted, we went up 8% on membership fees, and a little on cards. So right,
it worked.
it did. It absolutely
Well,
did.
That's
Jesse,
an increase.
let me complain about that.
Yep.
If you have, members of 1 point, or 1,285 as opposed to 1,203. Now, that's an increase of, I don't know.
It's not, we're actually down, because last year you're counting for family passes were sold as one pass.
Okay,
So we're actually, it's fewer people this year.
okay.
Does that make sense, what I'm saying?
Yeah, how many fewer?
Probably, I think the real number last year was probably 1,350, something like that. Because
Okay.
last year, the way it was accounted, if you bought a family pass, it was just in there as one pass being sold, where it could have represented 2, 3, 4 people. So I think we're slightly down in the actual number of members,
Okay.
from in the mid 1300s.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was my question, that if you're up 6.5% in revenue overall,
Right.
and your rounds are up 7%.
Yeah. Why
And you've
only?
increased it,
Right.
fees 8%. Why isn't your overall
Well,
revenue up?
member fees only account for about 30% of our revenue. You know, I mean, you don't forget about the driving ranges and the cart fees and the
Yeah.
merchandise in the shops, you know, all that stuff, so, and greens fees, obviously. So, yeah, member fees are the second biggest, greens fees are number one, members are right below it, you know, annual pass sales are right below it, but it's only, that would be my answer, is it only accounts for 30% of that 6.4% increase you're noting. I get the basis of the question, if we went up this, why would it? But that's why, it's actually slightly fewer people, because now we have a more accurate count. That 1285 number is a real number, that's an actual number, where before, it was just number of passes sold. And a family pass could have been 2 people, could have been 5. You good on that?
I just think that there should be more analysis of, if you go up 8% in your fees,
Yeah.
and you go up 7% in the number of rounds, and you've increased your price for those rounds, why is your revenue only 6% when those things are higher?
I get the crux of the question.
Yeah, something else is down. Something else has to be down for that to
Oh,
work.
Well, the number of passes
Yeah.
sold are down.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You know.
And what about the rounds from guests and the revenue from guests?
No,
You know,
I
that's
would
something
say-
you should watch, because if fewer guests are playing, that means maybe they're going somewhere else.
So believe it or not, the 59% number I have is the lowest it's been in 12 years. So it's actually more guests.
So Jesse, you gave us I think it was last meeting, you gave us a spreadsheet of the members and the increase
Yep.
or decrease from last year.
Yes. Oh yeah.
And then
Each
the
category. Yes.
increase.
Each category. Yep.
Could you give us
Yep.
that again
Sure.
for
Sure.
of the year?
Now, are we talking? Here's another thing. Are we talking fiscal year? Because
Yeah,
that's another problem.
Yeah.
Because the annual passes are sold in the calendar year.
yeah,
And we're analyzing it. So technically, like that 1285 number only accounts for people who bought a pass starting in November 1st when we started our early
Cycle,
drive.
yeah.
Right. Anybody who bought a pass in July, which isn't many,
yeah.
but it might be 30 people, that money isn't included in there. That's not, you know, because it was last year's
But that would be a
membership.
line item, you could explain it that way.
Sure,
You know, if there's a
yeah,
fluctuation.
Yeah, but I think that's why the increase doesn't match the increase, is because we're actually down probably 70 members, something like that. So that right there is close to 100,000.
We're down 70 members.
Probably. I'll get the actual numbers. But yeah, because again, that 1203 number last year actually represented over 1,300 people because of
Yeah.
all the family passes that we only counted as one in that 1203. But I'll run that. So,
And,
Yep.
the information that we were handed out to us showed an increase in the consolidated surplus of 600,000.
It's way down, under total revenue.
I think because they encumbered the clubhouse project. And now they're gonna release that because we're getting an insurance settlement.
Ah,
Do you have what we were given here? With the,
Yeah, looking at
Spreadsheet.
the 606,169.
Yep.
it shows the what?
Consolidated surplus year to date?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Hyannis number of 191, 937 doesn't make any sense with the numbers that we're given.
Okay. Is there an addition error, or is there?
Well, I have that they've subtracted 334,000 twice.
where are you seeing that, John?
Well, if you take the Hyannis
Oh,
expenses
yeah,
and you subtract it on the revenue of
yeah.
1,783,000, and then the 334,
Yeah, they,
Well, that green is them putting it back in. That's a net zero. The expense up top, 334, that's an expense.
right,
But down below, well, I said green, I don't know what color it is on here.
it's
Yeah.
green.
The shaded area down below is revenue. They're putting it back in,
right,
so it's a net zero.
right. So how do you get from 142 to 191?
I'd have to look at this more. I honestly don't look at it as, this is segmented. I don't look at things that way. I look at it as Barnstable Golf. But I have to look at this more.
Where do we combine the revenue streams from both courses? I'm not seeing
At
that.
the very bottom.
Very, very bottom.
So my question is, how do we get to this 191,937 for Hyannis?
I have to do some,
Yeah, the math doesn't work.
yeah, okay. I have to do some analysis here. I have no great answer for you right now. I have to look at it more. And I kind of want to, I'll get with Susan, I kind of want to clean up this entire report.
Yeah,
Now that the year's over, it should make sense. During the year, sometimes they take their indirect costs at different times, and that can make it screwy. But I will find out exactly why that is that way. So the 370,000 that we beat forecast by, what does it really mean? We have to back out the 234,000 that we borrowed from surplus to balance, so we subtract that from the 370. Then we can add back in around 100,000 in expense savings, 90% of which is salary savings, for the record. We're literally giving back $90,000 to surplus because we couldn't find people to work.
that's crazy.
Yep. And by my math, we'll be making a contribution to reserves of around 230,000. So that should increase our total surplus up to around 1.7, I believe.
Jeez.
Now again, 1.7, yeah, it sounds good. As a reminder, Director Milne wants that number to be at least half our annual budget. So we're about $500,000 short of that number, with this
Yeah.
year's budget being 4.4. We're $500,000 short of where he wants it. This year's budget is 8% higher, it's more aggressive, it's over $200,000. The expense side is $200,000 more than last year. Granted, 80,000 of that is one time, that's for the range dispensers. That was a one-time decision package that will not be included moving forward. So in regular expenses, it's really less than 200 bigger, but it's 8% higher. So we have a lot of discussion about fees going forward, because now we're gonna have this 6-figure payment, and beating forecast by, when you back out the what we used from reserves, barely over 100,000, it's not gonna do it. So we need to talk about price increases or model changes or a little of both. And that's all I have. What?
Nothing, rather talk price increase, but that's
Well,
just me.
I mean, members are playing 59% of the rounds. That number comes down, the revenue goes way up. But
Well,
don't
again,
want
that's a
it.
slightly inaccurate statement. The members play 59 because non-members have not signed up
Right,
for tee times.
Yes,
So
But-
if I want to play whatever day, and I go in at 8 o'clock at night,
right.
it's simply because it's an empty
But a
slot.
lot of times the public isn't doing that. They're calling that morning. Hey, do you have anything? See what I mean? They're calling that morning on the day of play.
Okay.
I
All right.
opened the shop today at Hyannis. I took 50 phone calls asking for tea times today from public.
Okay.
Times that were probably grabbed by members last night. So,
Okay.
that's what you wanna
I
change.
don't, yeah.
no, I'm not suggesting anything right now.
Yeah, I don't think that we were told about that. I don't mean that as a complaint, but
Told
I-
about what?
Did you
that-
get phone
that
calls, so many?
If we didn't
All
take,
day long, every day.
if members did not call in the night, were not able to call in the night
Correct.
before, those tee times would be used by non-members.
They would get filled up more by non-members who call in the morning of the day of play, absolutely. Members plan their golf much better than the general public does. Unless you're in it's a group outing, you know, people call
You do that,
that day all the
Call
time,
after 7,
all the
Okay.
time.
a non-member.
Well, that's bad
Well, that's
planning
certainly
on
something
our
we
part.
can look at.
Oh, sure, but it's reality. Right.
I just don't
I
want.
mean,
What would that
members-
number be, 56, 57% instead of 59? I don't know. But,
It's still money,
When I first.
but I mean, I've used that,
That's what I did, I'd call up.
In the
but-
morning, yeah.
if I know that those tee times are gonna be used by non-members, it becomes a different thing. Then we have to accept that.
the last thing we want is a tea time going completely unsold.
Of course,
Period.
yeah.
We'd rather a member be in there than it go empty. But these are things that happen. I can't tell you how many calls I took this morning, on a Tuesday, at Hyannis. Yeah,
So if you eliminated that option after 7 PM, for members to call in for a couple of months
we
in the
moved it
summer.
to 7 a few
Oh,
years
you moved
ago.
it to 7?
2 years ago.
Oh,
Yeah.
do you know
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Sorta.
That's why he can't get a tee time.
Yeah.
I go on at 7.
So, go ahead, Bill, I'm sorry.
No, I just, during the summer months.
I should note it works both ways, though. Public can book in a member time after 7 o'clock. Basically, all restrictions are lifted.
Yeah.
So it does work both ways. How often does it work that way? I'm not sure. I think it's 90% members booking
Yeah.
in public
Yeah.
times, because you know the drill,
Right.
you know.
But Bill just said something important. What if they were sort of a split system where during the season, so to speak, you kind of cut out that after 7 thing, but then it reverts once Memorial Day, before Memorial Day and after Labor Day, you go back to what we've been doing for a long time.
That's food for thought. I mean, these are the things we need to talk about
Yeah,
before we submit anything in October.
But you think that would increase revenue?
Yeah, if those times
the
are still
summertime,
available in the
yeah.
morning,
Definitely, yeah.
sure.
in the summer.
Yeah,
Is
but it
there
makes
any
it
way-
that
I
much
turned a
more
lot of people away today.
It just makes it that much more difficult for members to play.
Right, well,
In
that's
the
the other,
summer,
that's the
yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's something to think about. We are a tourist economy after all.
If you could perhaps provide us, when we begin this conversation, about an estimate, say take that 59 in half,
Mhm.
instead of 50-50 like it should be,
Yeah, 55.
yes,
Sure.
how much would we,
Sure.
how much would we generate?
Yeah, I would have to come up with some blended rate, but yeah, that's easy. Sure.
We're going to start our discussion next month, right?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, we have to, August.
It would be awesome to get some sort of, if somebody's taking calls from people, just make a hash mark. How many calls did I take today? How many calls did I take Wednesday? People wanting tea times, just to get a sense of how
Yeah.
prevalent this is would be important, I think, for a discussion. I don't know if I'm crazy about going all the way down to 55, but, a couple points would surely bring you revenue.
No question.
A split system.
Was Hyannis filled then today, Jesse, so you turned people away?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Jesse, I was playing around with golf now, I'm going on a vacation, and I thought I saw Hyannis there.
Yes. Hyannis is on golf now, not Old Barnstable.
I didn't realize that.
I didn't realize that either.
How long has that been on?
Since the clubhouse issue. I was doing anything I could to get people to that golf course.
Yeah, that's
Will we
very,
get off it once we're back? I don't know, but we do
very
a lot on it.
clever, Jesse.
We do a lot on it.
Yeah, you do?
Today, there were 4 groups, I wanna say.
Wow.
And we give them a tee time a day at a discounted rate that they can sell for whatever they want. So if you see one of those hot deals and it's crazy cheap, that's because they're taking whatever they can get for it. And then the rest is ours. But, you know, it's a barter system, so we get their exposure, their massive reach,
Yeah,
and they get a tee time a day
yeah.
to sell
Well,
for whatever
it's
they want.
interesting because I couldn't find a spot here and I'm like, well, there's always something at Hyannis. No.
Well,
I
you had a
couldn't see
big group at
anything.
Hyannis.
We did have a big
You had a
group.
big group
We
at
had a group,
Hyannis.
they had like
Yeah.
14 tee times.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Cause that
Well, I
sounds
mean-
unusual to me that you would be turning people away.
on a Tuesday, for sure.
yeah.
Big vacation week.
But I'm sure here, I'll ask Mary, I mean, I'm sure it happens here all day long.
I think Golf Now, I didn't know that. I think that's really filling up the tee times better than in the past over there.
We
No,
do
it's
a handful
only-
of groups a day
Yeah,
that I for sure wouldn't be there if it weren't for Golf Now.
yeah,
They're not going to Golf Now to book it, in fact, they're paying more,
yeah,
because they're
exactly.
paying us our regular rack rate
Right,
of $59 with car special,
they
and they
tack
pay a
on.
booking fee.
yeah,
So they're not going to Golf Now because they're trying to save money.
Right.
They're going to Golf Now
because
because
they wanna play golf.
they just, right.
Yeah.
So the groups we get from them, we would not see otherwise.
Well, that was a really wise move on your part.
Who knows if, we'll see what happens next year. You know,
You might wanna consider keeping it if it's generating.
I just might put tighter parameters on it, maybe
Yeah.
ditch weekends, you know.
Yeah.
Which at a certain point, they're gonna say, we're not interested.
Right,
If I only give them Tuesday through Thursday, they're gonna say, no thanks.
Yeah.
It's not worth it for them.
let's talk
So,
about that next month.
Sure.
I think we have a few ideas to talk about, right?
If you give them Mondays, they'll be,
Oh,
furious.
I talked somebody out of it today. They were asking about a tea time for Monday. It's
Yeah.
coming, and I said, just so you know. And he said, you know what, I appreciate you telling me that, never mind. And I'd rather that than have them show up and be all mad and
Oh,
write a
because
bad,
of
but write a
quota.
bad review, right, because
Yeah,
the
yeah,
pins.
yeah.
I said, just so you know, the pins on the front are gonna be absurd. You get it, you know.
Oh, there's sucker pins, every single one of them. I don't even
How was the
bother
bag?
anymore.
Yesterday.
It was awesome. I birdied 12.
Ooh,
I was below the hole into the approach. I putted up this hill, then I rolled back down into the hole. So it wasn't a good putt, but it worked out.
I'm proud of myself, I've parred 7 here twice in a row. That's not
Did
easy.
you really?
Yeah.
That's not
I
easy
don't
for
think I've done that.
a gal.
Well, that's more bunkers.
Yeah.
I have new clubs, they're working out great.
So the member analysis, the differences in percentage points here, and the screwy math here. That's my homework.
Yeah.
Anything else? That was it.
For the meeting,
Jesse,
and were we gonna see
yeah, go ahead,
Again.
John.
what the, fees are for all the other?
Oh, sure, I'll put together a comparison. I mean, we all do this at the same time, pretty much. So all I can tell you is what they're charging this year. I won't be able to tell you what anybody's gonna do for next year, because again, we all do it the same way. We all submit it October, November, and then wait and see if it gets approved, and so all I can tell you is what they're doing right now. But I'll give you, like last year, I'll give you more than just the price. I'll give you any notable restrictions they have that we don't, or vice versa, or, you know, categories that exist. I can tell you we're the only community on Cape Cod that offers a resident greens fee rate. Nobody else does that. I'm not talking membership, just daily fee. No other place does that, just us.
Wait a minute, say that
Maybe that
again.
could be a,
Resident
that could
greens
be
fee.
a.
Oh, resident, not member.
Correct.
Right, okay,
A resident, somebody coming into play, they're not a member. Oh, I'm a resident.
yeah.
Nobody else gets a discount but us.
Maybe we could stop
Well, that's
that.
a philosophy, yeah.
You know, I noticed, because I played Bayberry last Saturday,
Yeah.
you have to take a cart over there.
They mandate cart usage, yep, and they don't discount even memberships for residents. Everybody pays the same.
I've spoken
Jesse.
before about I'm sorry.
As we go forward with this conversation now through August, September, and October, I think that, and I've spoken to different people about this, we'd also like to know what the money is gonna be used for. What will our employee costs be next year? I'm sure that's built into the contract. What our expenses going to be next year vis-a-vis this year. So we know how much we need to raise just to break even.
Sure. I'll give you all that.
All right,
I'll
good.
give you, yeah.
It's not always that simple.
Of course not. Because
Just
we have-
like
we
we-
have appropriations, we have
Well, just like the pumps here, you had to go,
$52,000. We didn't know we were gonna spend that.
yeah.
Just happened.
Yeah.
We're inspecting, this year, we're inspecting the pumps at Hyannis.
Yeah.
Probably in November or late October, whenever they actually blow out the system. And who knows what we're gonna find.
Because
So,
you had to get a supplementary appropriation for that, right?
we're gonna have to, we can't
No,
afford
you
it
did for
already.
Old Bonnie?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's why, that's some of the costs you
That's
just
not,
don't.
I don't have
Yeah.
a $52,000 fluff.
No, you don't.
I said, no.
We've come up with some ideas to, enrich our conversation starting in August. I wanna follow up with what Mark just said about Bayberry requiring cards.
Mhm.
I think there are certain days of the week,
I'm
Saturday and
not in
Sunday.
favor of that, Mary.
You're not?
I'm just
Oh,
saying,
a lot of
I am
people would be
definitely not in
against it.
favor of that.
A lot of people would be against it.
Especially Old
Absolutely.
Bonnie.
Well, especially
People
Old
like
Bonnie,
Especially
but
Old
at
Bonnie.
Hyannis.
That's exercise.
it-
This is
no,
this is a
understood.
great course to walk,
But no, I understand that.
and it doesn't speed play by having a car. It really doesn't.
You
The
know
only
what
place
you're
it
doing,
speeds
though.
up is in between some of the holes.
You're
You know what
driving
you're doing.
revenue.
But you know what you're doing driving a cart. We see what people do with their carts. There was a guy at Old Barnstable Public on Sunday. On 13, he's playing the back. On 13, he tops his tee shot all the way down to the forward tees. He walks down the hill, hits his second shot, and then walks back up to get his cart.
People do that with
Mary
clubs all the
watched
time.
this.
Yeah.
She did. Yeah, I'm
What is
sorry,
that?
I didn't
Yeah,
mean to
like-
set off a,
No, it's all right.
I was trying to get my steps in.
I'm just saying,
Well, no, it was not a member.
if I could finish my thought,
Yes.
I would never suggest any mandate of carts at Old Barney, although the Old Barney Death March is a real thing on the weekends. But Hyannis being what it is,
Mhm.
that maybe on the weekends where, I've heard it really is slowing down, could drive a little bit of revenue, that's all. And it's a big
Okay.
course.
You think about that.
Women who walk here all the time take carts at Hyannis when we play
Right.
over there.
Right.
Just saying.
No, we can talk about that for sure. Maybe just Memorial Day to Labor Day kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to speed it up. And-
I'll
I just don't know how much it speeds it up.
I mean, very few.
oh, it'd be strictly for revenue reasons.
Yeah.
And I don't buy a pace of play.
Yeah, I don't either.
Because of things like what I just told you. You know.
This is true, but I've also done some experiments, people, like today, we had 2 carts and 2 walkers. And the 2 carts would hit their balls and sit there and wait. Now, if we had 4 people in 2 carts, we're not sitting around waiting
Sure.
as long as we did today.
Where was the group in front of you?
Huh? We were the first group out.
Okay,
But if you spend time just thinking about the difference, it was so hot today, so I love the 2 walkers, they're great people.
Yeah.
But, it took them a long time to get to where we had already hit our
Sure.
balls. And, just saying, but not Old Barney, I understand, this
Right,
is an
right.
exercise thing.
Okay, further questions for Jesse?
Yeah, but I think last month, Jesse, you mentioned you were gonna walk the course with Chris Canella to talk about
Yep.
conditions. Could you
Yeah.
talk about that?
We did. And their discussions are ongoing. We're gonna explore some options. That's basically all I can
Did
say.
he acknowledge the?
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes. You can't not.
Yeah.
I mean, you see it. You see
Is
the
it his
clover, you see the
call?
fairways.
Is it his call, our ability to do something about it and use something else?
Yes and no. I mean, James is really good about using that with EIQ, what's it called?
Yeah, I do,
We basically, he leans on the Autobahn guidance, and it's a collective call. It really is. I don't want to pinpoint one person. Yeah.
It's almost like the water usage, we're restricted right now to 50% water on our fairways. Are other golf courses doing it? Probably not.
Oyster Harbors is probably not adhering to that. You know what I mean?
But, there's a certain amount of integrity you have to have, for your water supply, and same thing with other things, so we do stick to it.
You're
Would we
right.
ever get caught? I doubt it.
Does it get metered?
No, we have to do water
Just
reports
the
at the
end
end
of
of
the
the year,
Oh.
How many
okay.
million gallons?
Yeah,
but we could also lie through that whole thing.
right.
The state doesn't have one they're gonna send down and say, yeah, that doesn't sound right. I don't even think they look at the reports. It's an integrity thing. I don't know, it's Cape Cod water and what do? Do you have little brown fairways so people have drinking water?
Eight ball rolls back.
Okay, any other questions? So the agenda for the next month will be James's report, of course. But your report basically is gonna focus, give us an update on the clubhouse, because we always
Right.
wanna hear about that.
Financially, I won't have much because we're only a month in.
Right.
Yeah, so.
So we're going to just brainstorm ideas and have people just talk out loud about what we need to raise and how we're gonna raise it.
Well said.
And again, because we have August and then we have September, check, Jesse, if you can, will we have that October meeting? Because obviously you'll have to have
Before the deadline.
our recommendation to Mark Ells. And if that recommendation is needed before the second Tuesday of October,
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll make sure it is. We'll move it to the first Tuesday if needed.
okay,
Right.
You know,
all
we'll
right.
just make sure it is.
Yeah.
So this way we'll have 3 months.
Right. Let's
We'll
three,
have
yes.
August and September to brainstorm, and then in October, we can make the final decision.
I'll reach out tomorrow and ask when is that deadline.
Okay,
I don't
that'd
think
be
it's been-
good.
It's been.
Because
way
again,
public.
last year, we just made it.
It was
We were
literally the day
very
before, I
close,
think.
right,
Yeah.
right. So this way, we'll have that third meeting to discuss this important issue.
Mhm.
All right, I have my homework.
All right?
Yeah.
All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, show of hands. The motion is accepted. The meeting is adjourned at 6:28. Thank you.